Hi, Rebecca here. Hopefully, you can hear me a lot better. I've now got a professional mic, which is great, and also some Bluetooth headphones. Um, Anyone that joins, just let me know if you can't hear me, and I'll try and adjust it. So basically, my first episode is going to be about my adoption. Yeah. So basically, as soon as I was born, basically, my mum was unable to look after me, my birth mum or biological mum, due to health and being intellectually disabled. So I was, I think, advertised in a newspaper, and that's quite crazy. You don't see kids being advertised in newspapers these days. I think you get called and maybe online, but not in a kind of newspaper. Um, so I was. It took a lot of time for my adoptive parents to get me, some court days even, and I don't remember much because I was little. But all I remember is that I actually picked up I was different to others and adopted quite quickly. Uh, I guess that was partly my autism, but I'll go into those details later on in other episodes. So basically, I was adopted after a few to 4 days, maybe longer. I'm not sure because I was a baby. um, Into the Ellingworth family, and I have had a good life. So when I was a baby, I enjoyed chasing ducks. That was fun. I still get tempted to, because I swear, like, they just keep laughing at me. So I yeah, so I can't chase them at the moment because I'm wheelchair bound at the moment. Um, yeah, but I plan to when I can walk again. So basically, I went on cool picnics. I can't remember much due to head injuries, unfortunately, but I'll do my best. Um, so I have a sister called Tegan, and she lives in Wainuiomata, and she recently got a house with her partner. So congrats! It was September last year, I think, and they're renovating. They actually met on Instagram, which is really cool. So I've always liked going to estuaries. So I used to live in Palmy. That was the first place. I used to live down Gloucester Street, and I think my nana, who is in heaven, she also lived there for a while. I went to Central Normal School. I can't remember much, but I'm sure I had a great school life there and made new friends, but probably forgot who they were due to the head injuries. Then I went on to, we moved up to Taumaranui, and we, I met my childhood friend basically there, which was really cool. And I went to Tarrangower School, and I did Māori classes most of the days after school because, I didn't have many friends. Um, but what I most enjoyed about school was honestly the running and the sports and the athletics. That was good fun. I also helped out with my childhood friends, dad's company, and kind of had fun on the four wheelers. um, Accidentally crashed one of them, but I was young, so I didn't actually know how to do it. Uh, but we had good time. And then we moved to Foxton Beach. So that was cool. Oh yeah, regarding Taumarunui, I was in a bunk bed with my sister, and honestly, I don't know if you'd agree with this, everyone, but bunk beds are not comfortable. um, and I was always scared I was going to fall off because I think I was at the top bunk. Yeah. Um, but I actually, yeah, during my Taumarunui years, I unfortunately was playing on the monkey bars, and I ended up falling and twisting my arm, and we all cracked up like ah ha ha ha. But yeah, long story short, I actually broke it really bad, and I was eventually flown to Hamilton Hospital, where I ended up with a cast, and that wasn't fun because you stay in there for a few days, I think. So yeah, that was no fun. But then we eventually moved on to Foxton Beach, and I went to Foxton Beach School, and that was an experience, I must say. I unfortunately got quite bullied. I don't know whether it was because I was actually quite shy. Because yeah, nowadays you wouldn't think I was shy. And I had lovely teachers there. In fact, one of them, I think a couple or so years ago now, she unfortunately died of cancer. So, Mrs. Coogan, if you're up there, um, thank you for giving me a fun choir and also cool fairs as well. Because I joined a choir at Foxton Beach, and I also competed as well, and that was good fun. Oh yeah, same with Taumarunui. Sorry, that's my head injuries. I just remember things suddenly. And then I think I joined Kapahaka. I can't quite remember. I do remember one thing that I'm really good at multiplication. Yeah. And also spelling. I'm really good at spelling as well. So yeah. So I think I can't remember quite well, but I made a lot of friends, good friends. I think I'm still friends with them. Some of them, yeah, they've gone on to their own lives and living happily now, though. So that's great with kids and following their dreams, which is what I'm planning to do with my life as well. So basically, I made friends in both schools. I can't really remember my Taumarunui friends anymore. In Foxton Beach, I still have them on Facebook. But yeah, my memory's quite bleak. I don't really remember them that well, sadly. But I try to when they talk to me. So basically, there's a funny story. So when I was at Foxton Beach School, we did this. We did this pajama day, and I think my sister and I both did the same problem. We got the wrong day. So we went to school in our pajamas. um, and that was rather embarrassing, I must say. That was not a fun memory, but at this, like now, kind of being 30 years old, you kind of laugh about it. So I ended up in my pajamas doing sports and class and having people looking at young me like, why did she get the wrong day? So that was funny. Yeah. Um I also I made cool friends, and I'm still friends with them to this day. I also really enjoyed Bible camp down in Foxton Beach. I went to a Bible camp, and had lots of fun. I helped out with dinners and I think breakfast. We had different chores to do. I recall, and yeah, that was cool. But anyway, I went off topic. Yeah, so for my adoption, this is quite common with autism, as people with autism probably realize too. We do it without realizing. So sorry, I changed the subject. Um, so yeah, basically regarding my adoption, I did keep seeing my mum until a certain age. I went to the Esplanade actually, and she requested a lot of photos. Whether it's because she couldn't remember me that greatly, that could be what it was. I'm not 100% sure. But I went and saw her every weekend. I recall, and I tried to kind of talk to her, but yeah, it was hard. I must say, like, yeah, having my mum right there, and she didn't honestly recognize me that well. And I think the saddest thing was, as I was growing up, she still saw me as a 4 to 5 year old or even less. I loved plushies, don't get me wrong. They're my number one favorite thing in the world. Um, and yeah, it just got too difficult as I kept visiting her and we were running out of photos for her of me. So she must have remembered some parts of me, I guess. I guess it was just getting too difficult as I got older and older, and I wanted to be recognized as the age I was, basically. And I knew deep down my birth mum wouldn't be able to do that. Um, yeah, so that was really upsetting, and I unfortunately got quite mentally unwell. So we made the hardest ever decision I had to do, which was get my adoptive mum to go to court and, yeah, formally break out with my birth mum and cut all ties, which was really hard and still is to this day. I still deeply think about my mum. Um, so yeah, that was difficult. So, but she's a lovely mother. Don't get me wrong. She did what's best for me. I strongly believe that. I would have had to be looked after by social workers and see them as my parents. And honestly, I would rather be an adoptive family than that. That's not really a full family. It's not parents. So thank you, Mum, for adopting me into a really lovely family. It means a lot, and I hope you're doing well. So yeah, that's about my adoption. And when I was at school in Palmerston North, I did a work experience, and this is regarding sort of my adoption as well. Uh, Went into a $2 shop because who doesn't love $2 shops? They got everything and quite affordable, which is a bonus. Um, but yeah, long story short, I was doing work experience. I got offered that work experience when others were like competing basically, and I worked for Plumbing World, and that was really cool. I learned a whole lot of new skills, and I did that for a term or two. Yeah, but there was a day where I went out to get my lunch, and what do you know, my birth mum was in the same $2 shop, and I bawled my eyes out when I realized she didn't recognize me. Yeah, so that was rough. So I was gonna say hello, but due to breaking up with her, I thought it was best for her not to be said hello to. Yeah, it was best for both of us for this to happen because we were both hurting. She probably deep down wanted to have her daughter sort of in her life. I really wanted to have a mother that could recognize me for the age I was. And yeah, so that was hard. So I went back to my work experience kind of quiet, not really able to function because I just saw my mom. Yeah, so um, I also may have, as I've been getting older, I may have taken a glimpse of her still around. But once again, just for the mental well-being for both of us, I steered clear. Yeah. But yeah, about my adoption. So I was adopted into the Allingware family, and they brought me up to the age I am now. They looked after me because I developed so many health problems. Um, I ended up with really bad stomach pains, which has still been looked into. I guess it's hard to find things wrong when you're younger, I guess. And also had eczema all over my body. So when I went for baths, it was absolutely agonizing to have to deal with. I also, I also had I suspect I might have talked too much as a little girl because my sister's quite quiet. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping I didn't make her quiet, but I do talk a lot. And at that point, we did not know I had Asperger's. So we did lots of fun trips. I can name a few because I don't want to go on and be boring. I want to make it a fun podcast. Um, so this is a funny story, actually. So we went down south. I can't remember how old I was though. Yeah, my dad would know. So I went down south and we did lots of fun stuff as a family. We went to Bays or something like that, and we just looked around. I think Nelson and Picton. I can't remember where else. Long story short, we still didn't know I was autistic. But it was a clear sign now, being 30 years old, that I definitely was. Due to the fact that because of the bad weather, we had to go back earlier. I had my mindset on I want to do mini golf, mum. I want to do mini golf, dad. I'm not allowed to. I'm not going until I've done it, sort of thing. But because of the bad weather, my mum and dad had to tell us that we had to go earlier. I think it was 2 to 3 days earlier, due to the storm that was going to happen, and it wouldn't be a fun sort of trip back home from the South Island. So yeah, basically, I pulled a huge tantrum and I sat on my suitcase. I think I can't remember. My dad would, and I said no. Um, I got out of the car and I sat on my suitcase and I refused to leave. And looking back on that time, I realized I was clearly with autistic spectrum disorder. I didn't like change. I still don't. But I am doing really well now. I'm slowly adapting to things a lot better and handling kind of sudden changes, I guess. There's still moments that I have moments. Yeah. um so basically what my parents did was they sort of convinced me to get on the ship, on the ferry, the Inter-Islander, which was so cool. I like ferries; they're cool, but I unfortunately get car sick, boat sick, plane sick, all of them. It's not fun, and I react to medication even back then, so we couldn't use it. But basically, they got me onto the ferry. I was bawling my eyes out, I think, and getting quite sulky because I really wanted to do mini golf. And even now, I still want to go back to that mini golf, but I don't remember where it was.
That's so unfortunate. Um, and I went onto the ferry, and my sister, my Tegan and I, we watched a movie on the ferry, and that was crazy because it was so bumpy and stuff on the water. It's a very different experience when you watch a movie on a ferry compared to at home or in a cinema, even because it feels very realistic. um, I got quite boats ferry sick, I guess you could say. But I still persevered and watched it, and I think I had snacks. I'm not sure. After that, my mum and I looked in a gift shop, and I got some cool activity books, and I pretty much just shut off, and I kept busy on my activity books, and I sort of well, I didn't really forget the mini golf because I really wanted to do it. Um, but I also yeah, I realized that it would be too much risk, and they were looking out for me because of the boat sick I get. Yeah, quite bad. So then we got home from the holiday, and it was good fun. Um, we've also gone to like fairs together. We planned for a trip, but that's going to be in a different episode because trying to focus on the adoption really hard because my brain sort of changes subjects. I think people with autistic spectrum honestly agree with that. Yeah. So I'm trying to revert my brain back to the adoption. Yeah. So basically I've had a great adoptive journey. Kind of like I had a auntie that sort of ran around though, kind of telling everyone, and I didn't like that too much because I just liked being considered as an Ellingworth, not really an outsider, and it felt that way. Um, I also got picked on by cousins because I wasn't of blood, so that was a little upsetting. But it was okay because I it wasn't about sort of blood related. It's who you feel you are, and felt I was. I guess to be honest, I felt I didn't sort of fit in at first because not just because of my autism, but because of the way I looked compared to my mum and dad, and how different I was, and sort of like not having anything in common. I mean, the funniest thing is that my sister and I, we look quite similar, like figure wise, like skinny. Even though I'm adopted, so that's quite out of it. So I believe I was meant to be in that family. Yep. Um. So yeah, I I definitely it's been an interesting journey, I must say. Being adopted, uh, but I have a message for people that are adopted. Because I managed to before my mum passed away, I managed my adoptive mum, but I call her my real mum because straight from birth I was adopted. You got to realize. Um, I we tried to track down some history because I just felt like there was an empty space in my mind, sort of not filled. And that's because I didn't really know myself. I had doctors sort of saying, "Oh, do I have this? Do I have this in my family?" Sort of stuff. And I felt really down and depressed because I couldn't answer it. I said, "Look, I'm adopted from birth. My birth mum, actually, funny story, also adopted from birth. Um, she was given away. Yeah, I'm not sure what the deal was. But that's sad. I'll talk about that sort of journey soon, but that's quite a sad story. But I'll try not to say too much because my mum wouldn't want me to. But let's just say, long story short, her family was nasty. Okay, they hurt her. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Because just hearing the stories that she went through, I don't want to share that with anyone, to be honest. Because it wrecked my mum even further. To yeah, but yeah, so I basically just lived my life with the Ellingworth family, and some of the family kind of, yeah, they treated me like outsiders, but no matter what, my mum and dad and sister never did. And that's honestly the main thing, as well as my nana. They all treat me like I belong, and I really appreciate that, definitely. So, yeah, so with my adoption journey continuing on, I can go back to sort of how I was born as well. So, not in a nice way. My dad took advantage of my mum. And because she was intellectual, it wrecked her even further. I think, long story short, he did a bet to sleep with a disabled woman, and then I was born. And I kept kind of stressing to my family, I don't feel like I was meant to be born. I don't think I belong. Um, I wanted to be born in a nicer way, but then I think to myself, at least I was born, and she let me be born. Yeah. And I mean, I got a lot of, I was saved from a lot. So being adopted, I was at risk of potentially going to foster care, and I don't know what the experience is like, but I've heard not so great stories and good stories. But I'm just really thankful that my mum advertised me, and I went into a lovely family. And I think there were some others interested, but I'm really thankful she chose my mum and dad. Yeah. So yeah, for my adoption journey, basically, yeah, I had to break up with my mum. I was I was adopted straight from birth, and sort of just felt a bit alienated. Yeah, quite alien like, because yeah, I don't look anything like my adopted family, really. Um, but I've had a good life. Let's just say I've had ups and downs like everyone else. I'm I can tell you stories. So when I was about 10, I think, I because we tried to track down my dad, actually, my birth dad, and I think he's still alive to this day, but he is not someone that you would want to know, honestly. Whether he regrets what he did, because he did a lot of other bad things. Um, so yeah, long story short, we tried to track him down, and all I found out about him was he was a truck driver and Dutch. So yeah, I'm Dutch. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but yeah, there's a certain accent that I never knew about until we worked out I was Dutch, which was really cool. I got to know who I was. So my birth mum was Maori. I'm not sure if she was full Maori, or is, I should say. She's still alive, I think. I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, I am part Maori, part Dutch, and part European, and maybe other things, but because of my adoption history and my mum being adopted, it just makes it 10 times harder to sort of find out who I am. Um, so yeah, we got some bad news, sort of, because we were trying to track down records. And my adoptive mum like worked really hard, or should I say my real mum worked really hard to try and find info for my well-being, because I felt really down, and I was getting really anxious and sort of acting out because I just didn't know who I really was. I was getting sick, and I didn't know why. I was gaining more issues now to this day, even, and still don't know why. Maybe it ran in my family, but I'll never know. But yeah, basically, I found out my dad is a truck driver, and I also found out from my dad that he was actually recently. My auntie told me he was in a home in a shelter, and I think to myself, he could have gone down a nicer path. Honestly, he could have decided to say hi to me. I don't know what age they were, but at the end of the day, he hurt my mum, and I will never forgive him. I I don't have anything to say about him, honestly, except that I'm just upset. There were times where I wanted to, yeah, growl at him and say, "Look what you did! Look what you did to my mum." But I think to myself, at least she's alive. At least she's healthy. To a certain point, like she's since we broke up, she definitely is doing a lot better. Actually, yeah. It's hard, and I'm sure she misses me every day. My dad keeps saying to me, I even, yeah, I even had the option to maybe see her again, but we decided against it because of how incredibly mentally sick I got and how many nightmares I had because, yeah, my brain wanted her to be able to function and communicate like my mum did too. So, my adoptive mum. Um, so basically, we managed to. My mum tried a whole lot of different things. My real mum tried a whole lot of things to track down things about me to try and help with the medical side, but also sort of like the autism side. Yeah. Um, no luck, unfortunately. She surprised me with a cool DNA test, I recall. Unfortunately, she got ripped off. It was fake. I recall it saying I'm 5% Armenian, and maybe I am, but like 5% Chinese, Indian, Japanese, um, maybe, but I'm sure that's not possible. So she was really down about that. I wasn't. I told her thank you so much for trying at least to find out my DNA, really, because we tried a DNA test basically to so then I could track down my heritage potentially, which was a complete bust. We had no sort of, yeah, there was no ongoing way to try and do it. I plan to, when I get more income, to hopefully get on to trying to track them down again and maybe do a proper DNA test, but trying to find one that is legitimate and not a scam, I guess you could say. Not like like she was sure it was fine because she told me the reviews were great, but then I think we discovered that she ordered the wrong one potentially. I can't remember the whole story, but yeah. So after that was upsetting. I cried because I do still deep down want to know who I truly am. Because I mean I'm Māori, so I must have an iwi out there, and it's good and all that my auntie Lorraine and other ones now kind of want to accept me in theirs, but honestly, I don't know if you feel the same way, people that are adopted and Māori as well, but yeah, it's hard to kind of fit in with that. So I plan to still try. I plan to still try everything possible to find my iwi. I have a supportive partner now since October who's been there for me through thick and thin, and thank you so much. um, but yeah, after the DNA test, we actually my mum did so much hard work. She's in heaven now. Very sad. Yeah, rest in peace, mum. um, she managed to track down my grandmother, and I was beyond surprised. I didn't think we could find her, honestly. At that point, I wasn't with a nice person, but I decided to share my journey with her. Um, Honestly, we don't know if the letter ever got to her. uh, the social workers came back kind of saying she didn't want to meet me, but I don't know. Deep down, maybe I don't believe that. Maybe they weren't telling the truth. Maybe they were. But I was really broken, kind of, when my mum said they've just had no luck, and she apparently declined meeting me, and her name was Joyce. Um, so yeah, that was really, really upsetting. Whether it's just because she thought I was like my birth mum, Lynn, that's her name. That could be actually what happened. But honestly, I really wish she could have given me a chance, and I really wanted to kind of know what my mum was like before things went downhill for her, as well as maybe actually finding out if I have epilepsy and other conditions kind of causing fatigue and other issues in my life now. So yeah, so that was a bust. After that, I think we were going to consider the what is it called? Ancestry.com? Yeah. But then I tried to go on it last year or so and realized there was no way I could do that either, because you have to know more about yourself. I know my mum's name, don't get me wrong, it's Lynn Calder. Um, but yeah, there was no way I could track more and more people down through that. So my adoption sort of went to a, yeah, trying to track down my real life was just near impossible, to be honest. I tried everything in my power, and even now still do. Uh, Trying to Google if I can track my grandmother down, because yeah, that hasn't left my mind, honestly. And with the court's help, I managed to really track her down, and my mum as well. So thank you both. You tried your best, and unfortunately, yeah, we were just at a dead end, basically. So that was pretty, yeah, that was really gutted. Um, but I guess what I've learned about my adoption life is don't feel like you don't belong. Don't feel like you're an outsider, even if there's people in your family, like cousins and stuff, telling you you don't belong, which I guarantee there are. You say to them, "Yes, I do. They are my family, and they have brought me up into a healthy life and cared for me and treated me like their own daughter, cause or son, cause you are their family." And even if you have doubts that you don't belong, because I did for years and years, and my dad had to keep reassuring me, as well as my mum and my nana, that I belong, and that they love me, and they consider me their own daughter, not adoptive, own daughter. Yep. So it's just the overthinking phase for the Asperger's. I strongly think that has caused me to think like that. Really. Um. So yeah. So that is my adoption history, and to this day now, I was and ahhing about sending my mum a letter, but then I just thought to myself, she probably wouldn't remember it, she wouldn't read it. So once again, I would be mentally stressing myself completely out again. Yeah, so I went against it. My dad did say I could go meet her again, like we used to at the Esplanade last year, but I sort of and ahed, because I remember the days I just got so mentally unwell. I just wished for her to be the same as my adoptive mum, to be honest. And honestly, that wasn't fair on her. So ever since we sort of ended that relationship, because I think the coolest thing was my real mum told me that my birth mum came and visited me. Yeah, she visited me when I was a baby in the cot, and I can't remember that as such. I just remember my dad kind of saying that briefly, and that was so cool. I felt so happy. It means that she really does love me and does care, and she missed me greatly, I strongly believe, but she didn't want me to be brought up by social workers, by government, because she's living off the government, and that's not her choice. And also to others out there, it's not your choice. Like, you might be going through a hard time like her as well. So don't feel disheartened and live your life to your fullest. But yeah, that was really cool when I found that out, and she still has the photos of me that we gave her as well. So I think I recall a time, actually, it's come to my mind, where I went to her house actually, and I was just so kind of happy but shocked as well. So she didn't forget me. She had me everywhere. Um, I think on plates, on the walls. She literally was trying not to forget me, and it really made me happy. And even now, she probably still has it. Yeah. So it was just really, I guess, the hardest thing about breaking up with her was she was my mum. She did give birth to me. Um, and I had to move on to another family. That was the hardest part, because you kind of, adoptive children honestly probably feel the same way. They wish they could be with their real parents. Yeah, but after a while, I thought to myself, I was adopted straight from birth. They are my real family. um, and honestly, to my dad out there, you shouldn't have made wrong choices, and I hope you have learnt your lesson. Um, Not to hurt people, because you may have not known what she was going through. And at that point, she was getting hurt by her adoptive family. And trust me, they're not in heaven. They are very evil. I don't want to go into details because I don't want to make it scary. So, yeah. But basically, she got even worse because of them. So, and I found out last year they're gone, and I was actually happy. I know that sounds harsh, but they were really, really mean. Okay. So, yeah. So that's definitely why I advise people that are adopted. You can track down your family, but you may not like what you find. Um, you may like what you find, definitely, but yeah, there's probably a very common answer that you may not like what you find. I'm really thankful that my mum adopted me out, though. Like, I will keep saying that on my podcast. I wouldn't be where I was now. I'd probably be sicker in hospital, and not being able to do school. I was able to learn with my adoptive family about things. I was able to get really smart at things, let's just say. I've done a lot of jobs thanks to them. And it's just the health that sort of screwed that up, but that's another podcast. But yeah, so hopefully you heard me well. I noticed my partner is on, so hello. uh, and I will see you for a second episode. It may not be tomorrow because, yeah, I've got possible pneumonia and health problems going on, as well as a sick cat I have to try and look after as well. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was fun and not kind of ho hum. I've done my best. I feel I'm getting more confident, and it's a lot better with professional equipment, because you can probably hear me now. When I first did that episode, or just a test episode, the last one, I didn't have the equipment and realized, oh dear, I can barely hear myself. The phone on my Fold 4, the speaker on my Fold 4, sorry, not the best quality. So, um, yeah, so thank you for giving me the equipment. I really appreciate it, to my supportive partner out there, and I wouldn't be following my dreams if it wasn't for him. So I think I've covered all the basis of my adoption now. So before I make it 2 hours long, Um, I am going to end it now. I hope you all enjoyed it and it was fun as well as quite informative. And I will see you again soon. Okay, bye.